So, welcome to Biology Objective Questions 2026. I've done the theory. The link will be posted in the comment section, so you can click to watch. So let's go straight to question number 1. Question 1 said the representative behavior in termites is by what? The answer is nuclear flight. Why is this so? Because winged representative termites leave their original colony in a synchronized mass known as the nuclear flight to mate and establish new colonies. They move from their colony to another colony to mate, so it's called nuclear flight. The question 2, hepatitis, a disease of the liver. Why is it so? It's option B. Number 1 is A. Number 2 is B. It's a disease of the liver. Why is it so? Because hepatitis causes inflammation, and it is directly characterized by liver inflammation. So that is that is what hepatitis does to the liver. So the answer is B. Then question 3, excessive bleeding due to the deficiency of vitamin K. Vitamin K is the correct option here. Why? Vitamin K is an essential factor required for the synthesis of protobin and other blood clotting proteins that prevent the hemorrhage. So that is the answer to the question. Let's go to question 4. Question 4, this one is C. Let's move to question 4. The claim to start are used to determine geotropism. Geotropism means it responds to gravity. That means ability of plants to respond to gravity. So the answer to the question is option B. The question 5. Say an example of organisms that give birth to its young ones alive. Frog does not do that. Frog is by eggs, lizard eggs, pigeon egg, tilapia eggs. So the only one that does that is rabbit, which is option A. Now move to number 6. Number 6 says, which of the following is not a morphological variation? We have two types of variation. We have morphological and physiological variation. So the one that is not a morphological variation is the movement of the ear. Is the movement of the ear. It's not a morphological variation because it is related to physical anatomy features. That is why. Let's move to question 7. Question 7. So, what question 7 says? Say the part of the tongue that is sensitive to bitter taste. You know, the tongue is something like this. We have the is to taste. There the back. We have the salty area and the rest. So the bitter back part of the tongue is for question 7 is the back. Is the back part. It is for bitter taste, which is option B. Then let's move to question 8. It said the middle ear cavity is filled with what? The middle ear cavity is filled with air. The answer is air, which is option E. Option E. Why is it air? Why is it air? Because it allows the thermoelectrical membrane to vibrate properly. That is why it is air. Question 9. Say the optical nerve are responsible for transmitting messages from the optical nerve from the eye to the brain. The optical have to do with anything that have to do with light. From the eye to the brain to send a message of what you're experiencing, which is option B. Question 10. Say the fleshy part of a tomato's fruit is called the mesocarp. It's called the mesocarp, which is option D. The fleshy part is called the mesocarp. Okay, why is it so? Because the succulent middle tissue layer is the succulent middle tissue layer making up the main flesh is the mesocarp. So the organ responsible for protein synthesis in the cell, we all know that. That's the ribosome, which is option E, the ribosome. Now go to 12. It says a feeding relationship in which both organisms benefit. Both organisms benefits in symbiosis. So you get like H1, like the egg, like worm, and the human body. So it's called the symbiosis. So that is not symbiosis, that is parasitism. So when both benefit, we call that as a symbiosis. Okay? Where each species benefit for each other, like bird and buffaloes. When bird remove ticks from the head of a buffalo or the ear of a buffalo, we call that symbiosis. This is option D. Then let's go to number 13. Say the essential part of the flower are called the hydrocium and the gynocium. These are the essential part of the flower, which is the male reproductive and the female reproductive stamens. I what we call the hydrocium and the gynocium, which is the male and the female reproductive parts of flower. So which of the following is a decomposer? Which is question 14. In the bacillus, which is option E. This is E. This is also E. Then number 15. Example of a protozoa is what? Example of a protozoa. If you go to multicellular and unicellular cell, you realize that the paramecium is an example of a protozoa. Then number 16. It's an example of non-renewable source of energy. You have the coal is not renewable, water is renewable, the soil is renewable, the air is renewable. You have coal as a non-renewable source of energy. That gives us option D. Number 17. Say in plant, gaseous exchange occur in the what? We know that is the stomata. Stomata involve the closing and the opening. Is the stomata. That is the part responsible for gaseous exchange in plants. Okay, while in cellular organisms we have is their body skin, while humans they use the trachea. So the part, number 18, the part through which light enter the eye is called, that's question 18, it's called the pupil. You can also find that in the theoretical question. It's called the pupil. The cornea, the lens, the iris control the amount of eye that is entering. So when light enter the part of the eye, is the pupil that is responsible for that. Number 19. Let's see what we have. Number 19. So the process by which organisms maintain a fairly constant internal environment, we call that homeostasis. That is the answer, which is option B. That is the definition of homeostasis. So homeostasis is the structural and metabolic regulation used by living units to maintain dynamic internal physiological equilibrium. That's the definition of it. Number 20. So the organisms, the following are exoskeleton organisms. You know exoskeleton where they have their skeleton outside, such as the snail. Those are exoskeleton. So answer to this here is the tooth, except the tooth, which is option C. 21 said in a food chain, the position occupied by organisms in each dash level is trophic, in the trophic level. So what is the trophic level? Is the relating to feeding and nutrition, related to feeding and nutrition, when organism stage in the ecosystem is called the trophic level. Number 22, the parts of a flower that attract pollinating agents. Yes, is the petal. That is part of the flower. It's called the petal. Number 22, that will give us option A. Let's see what 23 have for us. The circulation of the blood from the heart to the lungs is dash what? Who is responsible for that? Is the pulmonary. Is the pulmonary that is responsible for it. The pulmonary. The pulmonary circulates or carries the oxygenated blood away from the right ventricle to the lungs and return oxygenated blood back to the left atrium or atricle. Okay, let's see question 24. So the theory of use and disuse of organs was propounded by who? The theory of use and disuse, J. Mark, which is option D. This one is A. So let's see 25. 25 says the formula, the dental formula, talking about teeth here, of incisors, incisors, the premolar, the molar, is responsible for who has that? Is the rabbit. If you make the calculation, it's going to have something like 2 plus 1 plus 2 plus 3 bracket times 2, multiply it by 2. What I have inside, that is 8. 8 times 2, we have 16. Okay, so and the total teeth is 28. That is responsible for the rabbit. That is that of a rabbit, which is option D. So let's see. Say the condition in which the anther mature before the stigma in a flower is called protodry, which is option E. So if you have not subscribed to the channel, please do so for more scientific videos like this. And if you want one-on-one tutorial with us, you can reach us on YouTube and email. So let's go to question 27. It said the reagent used for testing for the presence of lysine. Lysine is a what? Lysine contains a fat. We use Sudan 3 to do that. So when you use Sudan 3, it's going to form a reddish orange color, or a reddish orange color will be formed. That is option E. Now, question 28, the basic unit of inheritance, we all know that is the gene. A basic unit of inheritance is the gene. Question 29. Let's see what we have there. Say the hormone that regulates the level of glucose in the body is the insulin. Insulin is the hormone that is responsible for reduction of glucose in the body. Too much of it, sugar in the body, might lead to insulin resistance. So let's go to question 30. Go to question 30. Let's see what we have there. So the diagram may not be clear here. So the part label 1 is called the central, which is option A. Part 30 is A. Then we have 31. Say use the figure below to answer the questions. Say the phase of the meiotic division represented in the figure above is called. We also have a question like this in the theory. So like I said, the link for the theory will be posted in the comment section. So this part is called the anaphase, which is option D. The anaphase, option D. Let's see, question 32. So use the figure below to answer the questions. The label part 1 and part 2. The part 2 is the nucleus, which is the central part. Is the nucleus, which is B. Let's see what are the three have. So the specific methods of investigation include the following except. For investigation, you must observe, must experiment, must carry out a hypothesis and inference, must draw your inference. So the solution here is D, option D. Then let's see. The pulmonary circulation involves the movement of blood from the heart to the lungs. We answered a similar question earlier. From the heart to the lungs, which is option C. That is 34. Say the tube through which urine leaves the body is called the urethra. That is the tube on which urine leaves the body is called the urethra. So you carry urine from the kidney to the bladder. So it's option C. Let's go to 36. So which of the following organisms are producers except? So most plants are producers except it's a carnivorous plant. So the answer here is mushroom. The mushroom are non-photosynthetic fungi. They are not photosynthetic fungi. The answer is A, is mushroom. Number 37. So the circulatory system of a man is made up of the following except. We have the vein, we have the artery, we have the arterial, you have the capillary. The answer is venulus. Venulus are microscopic finger-like projection found in the lining of the small intestine that are responsible for nutrition absorption and not blood circulation. So the answer is D. Let's look at question 38. So the part of the brain responsible for the taste smell sensation is what? Is the olfactory lobe. We all know that. I found the talk when you're teaching you the skeletal system and the brain is the olfactory lobe, which is D. So let's see what question 29 down have for us. Let's see what 89 have for us. 39. So the following conditions form the basis for competition among organisms in a habitat. So we know what competition is. When few people compete for few resources. So we have the shape, the food, the light, water, and space. So the only thing that here is the shape, which is option A. It's an example of a monosaccharide. We have glucose and fructose. That is monosaccharide, meaning there has one more of glucose, of carbohydrates. So the answer is E. Here we have diagram of a butterfly. Diagram of a butterfly. So the figure above is dash is as an adult. We have process we have from the egg to larva, larva to pupa, pupa to adult. So the answer is adult here, which is option D. Option D. Okay. So let's go to question 42. Question 42. So use the diagram below to answer the question. So what we have there is so the part labeled 2. Which part is labeled 2? Which is this part. So if you are used to the diagram, you know the part labeled 2 is for respiration. is for respiration, which is option C. So let's see question 43. We have another diagram here of a bill. Say the structure used for movement in the part labeled what? Question 43. Used for movement is the part labeled 3, which is this part here, which is the leg. So we have option D. Option D. So let's make progress. Say the types of germination where the cotyledon grow above the soil is called, we have done these things and we see them every day, is IPG germination. I also have a hypogee. This hypogee is when the cotyledon does not grow beyond or above the soil. So the answer is a IPG germination, which is option A. So remaining 15 questions to go. If you have not subscribed, please do so, like and share. Recommend the channel to your friends and make sure you walk to the end. The link to the theory is on the comment section. Click on it and watch, and make sure you draw neat diagrams when required. So let's go to question 45. Say a group of organisms that freely interbreed to produce fertile offspring are called what? They are referred to as species. They are referred to as species, which is option E. Okay, so that is the answer to question 45. Question 46. The part of the earth that's made up of water. Part of the earth that is made up of water is the hydrosphere. The word hydro stands for water. Is the hydrosphere, which is option E. So let's go to 48. Move to question 48. Let's see what we have. Okay, we have 47 first. Let's read 47 first. It says the following soil types has the finest particle. Is the clay. Clay has the finest. If you have touched clay before, you know how fine it is. Means there are no particles involved. Very smooth and slippery is the clay. So number 48 said the hormone secreted by the gland located on the kidney is called the adrenaline. The adrenaline is that hormone which is what is responsible for high stress, fight or flight situation that's causing agitation, anger, among other things. It's called the adrenaline, which is option B. Then 49. Manufactured food is transported in plant through what? Through the phloem, which is option B. Go to 50. 50 say the differences that exist in height and color between members of the same species. So this is where we come fall under the type of variation. So this question is simply variation, which is option D. Okay. Then 51. Say the species of pathogenic organism that causes dysentery. In humans is the Shigella, which is C. Let's go to 52. Say the ozone layer depletion is caused by the following except chlorofluorocarbon, responsible, refrigerants, propellants, solvents, except bicarbonates. Bicarbonate can be sodium carbonate or any carbonate at all. Those ones, they are not responsible. So the answer to 52 is B. So let's move to 53. We are coming to the end. A quick reminder, make sure you subscribe, like and share, comment. If you have any observation, post it on the comment section, and the theory part, the link will be posted on the comment section. You can click on it to watch it. So question 53. So which of the following is a waste product of anaerobic respiration? It's a waste product of anaerobic respiration. That's not oxygen. The answer is carbon dioxide, which is CO2. So the solution here is option D. 54. So the increase in the width of blood vessels in mammals due to high temperature is known as what? It's known as vasodilation. It's called vasodilation. It's option D. Then 55, the fusion of male and female gametes to form a zygote. Everybody know this is fertilization. It's fertilization. So we have been told all these things suggest three part of it. So the process of maintaining the amount of water and solute in the body. So water and solute must be balanced, otherwise it might lead to high blood pressure, among other things. So the answer is osmoregulation, which is option E. Number 57, I mean. It's an example of a hormonal gland in mammals. Hormonal glands in mammals is not the skin. The skin is not an hormone. Liver is not. Kidney is not. It's the pancreas, which is option B. Is the pancreas. So let's look at question 58. Question 58 says the oxyburic acid DNA is found in which part of the body? It's found in the nucleus. DNA is located in the nucleus, which is option C. Then we have the last two, 59 and 60. Let's see what they have. See, genocium of a flower. Genocium of a flower is made up of the stigma, the style, and the ovary. Stigma, style, and the ovary, which is option A. Then question 60, which is the very last question. Before we go, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Recommend the channel to friends and others. Question 60, the enzyme responsible for digestion of starch is simply option A. So 59 and 60 are both A's. So this is all we can take. So stay tuned on the channel. We'll be doing videos on physics, chemistry, math, economics. So stay tuned and have a good exam tomorrow. Good luck. Including technical drawing, we're also doing that. Make sure you're on the channel 247. Thank you. See you in our next class. And you can also make requests on the comment section on what you want us to treat next. All right, bye.